about let's start with your YouTube journey, right? So I came across your videos. I was like, wow, this guy is really fast. So Daryl's from Hong Kong. He does YouTube in Hong Kong. So how's it like? I mean, how did you all start for you?
Well, it started actually one time where I was training and then I got injured. So the doctor said, oh, I have to be off the bike for 1 month. And back then I was still like, oh, but I have the itch. I want to still be with my friends and, see what they're doing. So my wife and I, we would, drive right next to them. And then my wife said, oh, why don't you just take out your phone, film them, put some videos on YouTube. I'm sure someone would like to watch. And I said, okay, sure. So that's how it all started. Whipped out my phone and the rest is kind of history. It started off really slow, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Actually, I had my first idea was to do something what you had in mind, and then
it's okay, you can still do it.
And then somehow that got buried, and then you came up, and I was like, oh man, he's doing exactly what I want to do and doing it better than me. So okay lah, I let him.
You can do it and do it in Hong Kong.
It's okay.
I'll look forward to seeing Hong Kong riders. I know you.
And then there's not a lot of choices to race in Hong Kong. And you can't afford to always be traveling for racing. So I started to sign up for the Hong Kong local races. That's when I realized that, oh, okay, it's a completely different style of racing. So just doing all these different things made me realize or learn more about cycling. And that got me interested. So eventually, slowly, it just got more and more hardcore. Trying to push limits, reach new heights, hit new FTP numbers, or maybe hit a new weight number. So I definitely wouldn't say I'm pro. In Hong Kong, my FTP weight per kg is not that high. Oh. It's 4.3.
It's quite okay.
It's okay. It's respectable. I can finish races and maybe be at the pointy end of things. But yeah, in Hong Kong, I think 5 is quite common nowadays because people are so light. It's like some kid out there would be 50 kg. It's only 250 watts to be 5 kg. It's for a guy, it's really not that hard.
Yeah.
Just practice a little, and you get there.
Right.
So yeah, definitely not pro.
So when was
But to me, it's like, why would I want to spend more money and waste money to get something where I'm not sure if I'll like, and then have to go through all that whole waiting process? Because bikes takes forever now.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to be buy something I know that will work for me and forget about it and just ride.
So are you saying that people should try different bikes, don't just be brand loyal to one?
Yeah, for sure.
Find which one suits you.
If you start out with S-Works or Specialized, I think you're probably quite spoiled for experience, because I think they make quite well-rounded bikes. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try, because every person's experience on a bike will be different, because maybe you are a different weight, you output different power, you ride maybe in the saddle more or maybe out of the saddle more, you maybe ride more forwards, you're maybe less aggressive. There's just so many factors that you can factor in, and the experience you get will definitely not be the same as me. So some people will say oh, they don't like the tarmac in Hong Kong. They're like, oh, it just doesn't fit. Cannot exactly say why, but maybe they want something stiffer. So Ocean, he didn't say he didn't like it lah, but he kept saying oh, the Dogma it suits me better because it's stiffer. And he's definitely a heavier, more flat roads kind of guy. So I feel it just confirms what I've been thinking, my theory about bikes, which is you have to try different things to figure out what it is that you really like. I'm at the stage where I think I know what I want, and I'll just stick to it. And I'm quite lucky, because basically I live right at the bottom of a hill. So I get out of the door and right away it's already a climb. And it's not a super steep climb, so it won't burn out your legs. So for me, it's I just do loops lah. So if you follow my Strava, you'll see it's always the same loop. And I'm very bored of it, but it's very time efficient. So I think coming here to Singapore, I have newfound respect for Singaporean cyclists, because it's so hard to train here. Just the geography is so hard. There's no climbs basically. You have so many traffic lights. You only have a small patch of road here and there that you can properly train. So if any Singapore cyclist is oh, I have 4 watts or 5 watts, I'd be good job, man. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I basically train 7 days a week. So 2 days is a rest day, and then 5 days, 2 days. So the weekends I do longer rides. I try to do 100K each day lah, but it's quite hard because there's so much climbing, and sometimes you have responsibilities. So 100K over the weekend, and then during the week, I usually do kind of interval related stuff. So, and those last maybe like 1.5 hours each. Yeah, so that's like my general weekly training. It comes out to be about 300 to 350 to maybe 400 km a week.
Man.
Yeah, I have more time now because I'm taking like a small break from things, but.
Can you tell us about the team that you ride with? Are you sponsored by them? How does it work?
Yeah, so this one here, Raft, this is our team. So we're basically like sort of affiliated with the Hong Kong RCC. The whole concept started out as we have all these RCC members. Some of them are very strong, and they want to have a team to support them to go racing. And there wasn't really a coherent organization or structure to like the whole RCC Hong Kong racers. So that's when the chapter coordinator there was like, oh, let's maybe do something. So he gathered a few guys, including me, and we started this team. So Rafa kind of sounds like Rafa in Canto and all that. So it's like a deliberate kind of choice of words to try to mix things up. So we're primarily a club that tries to cater for the RCC members in Hong Kong who want to go racing. And so that's why you'll see like occasionally we'll have like rides open to RCC members and their fast rides, and just kind of like get people who are interested but not there yet to dabble their feet and say, oh, is racing for me? Is riding fast for me? And if they are interested, and we feel like they're a good addition to the team, because it's quite hard to select like your team members. We don't want to be like, oh, everyone join. Then it just kind of defeats the purpose, and it kind of dilutes the whole quality of the experience, right? Someone has to be able to break away from the pack, and we maybe do like team A, team B versus team B versus team C. Can team A successfully break away? So you have to have some kind of tactics to make sure it happens. Like a simple tactic is basically, let's say 2 of your guys are break away and 1 guy from another team bridges over. So what do you do next? Well, of course you attack the heck out of him. Don't just let him sit in your draft, right? Because you outnumber. So if 1 guy attacks, he can't follow, well then that guy wins, right? He can break away. If he follows, then the other guy just follows and basically you burn his energy out until one of you from your team wins. So these kind of tactics, it sounds simple, but in the moment when the heat is on, adrenaline is going, and you're tired, you don't have time to think. It has to be like instinct. So that's what we're trying to do, like get that strategy, the instinct into the young people, the young guys in our team. But the hillier the race, the easier it is to pick your moments. Let's say Niseko, there's like one huge climb in the middle. Everyone's gonna know that's where, the key moment. If you cannot follow the group, then okay, your race is over.
Yeah.
You just aim for finish.
Yeah.
So that's like one clear selection.
Yeah.
And then maybe towards the end, if there's more climbing, then like definitely these are the key moments, right? So the more hilly it is, I think the easier it is to tell how the pace will be for the whole race. Whereas for like Bintan, it's a little trickier. I mean, I didn't finish, so I don't really know, but looking at the profile, it's probably towards the very end, definitely, when most of the team, everyone is tired. And then you also have to look at the dynamics of the peloton too. You just kind of like look around, see if anyone is everyone like, oh my God, just hanging on? Or is everyone like still fresh? If everyone's still fresh, there's no point to attack. It's when people are starting to get tired, then you like put the nail in the coffin.
Just now, we were filming the B-rolls. I was asking you, can you show me what you have on your screen?
Yeah.
Tell us what do you look at?
So in training, I look at a lot of things, including like calorie, time. Time is actually very important because I have to get home on time, But I look at definitely watts. So watts is on like all my pages. I usually have maybe 2 pages that I really look at. 3 maybe for the race. So 1 page would be the map. I have to know like, do I turn left or right? What's like the descent? Is it, what's coming up, right? So I don't crash. And I learned that because in Niseko Classic, there's 1 corner, you descend very, very fast. It's like at least 70 Ks. And then there's a very sharp turn that just like suddenly hits you. Everyone crashed there. Yeah, so I was lucky enough that I saw that on video before I went there for that race. So I knew that corner was gonna be like very dangerous. But since then, that was when I saw people like flying off the cliff, that I was like, okay, probably a good idea to have the map on hand. And you know how some people make silly mistakes, like they turn right instead of left because they rely too much on like the race marshals, but sometimes they make mistakes too that are human. For
So
every
it's-
20 minutes, I'll have like a reminder to eat. It could mean like eat something, drink something, but just eat. Because usually in the race, you could get so focused in just not crashing, especially in the big peloton if you're nervous, that you forget to eat. So every 20 minutes, it beeps to remind me. And then I also put in reminders for all the feed zones that I'm targeting. So I usually do, let's say at 65 km, there's going to be a feed zone. At 60 km, I set a reminder that says, okay, feed zone is coming up. And I give myself that 5 km buffer because you need to start to like plan your feed. If you see the feed zone and then you decide, oh, I'm on the wrong side of the road, I need to go all the way from the right to the left, it's too late, you'll miss it. Because you're going at like maybe 40. So you're gonna miss it. And there's like so many people, it's gonna be messy and you don't wanna crash. So I give myself that 5 km buffer to start like moving to the right side where the bottles and all that is going to be. So that's actually very helpful to have on the Wahoo. I don't know if you can do it on Garmin's, but
I have no idea. I mean, I
yeah.
never used that function.
yeah. So like, you know,
Yeah.
buy Wahoo.
Maybe it's time we move on to
Oh,
the
yeah,
bike.
yeah, the bikes,
So if
yeah.
anyone has any questions, I guess you could comment it in a video. Daryl will go ahead
I will
and
be very
reply.
happy to respond. So
Yeah.
comment below.
So you have a 52 centimeter SL7 2022. How tall are you?
I'm 170 cm. I have no idea what my insim is. I just never bothered to measure, but I feel like for my height, my what's it called? The length here is maybe slightly above average. Yeah, so I can rock a 52 centimeter and it doesn't look too off the whole thing. I mean, yeah, I race lah, but looks is very important too. You know, you look good, feel good, go fast. You know, so I dabbled around. I tried a 49 before, not this one, the older SL6 rim brake that I had. That was a 49, but then I felt like I don't know, just itchy lah. So I tried the 52, and then I thought, oh, actually, it's more stable. It handles quite the same in that sense. So yeah, it looks quite good too. So I moved over to 52 and haven't looked back since.
Did you-
Over time, I've just kind of like dabbled myself. So let's say the only thing that hasn't changed basically is this length here. That I dialed in, never moved. Always been the same. Maybe I grow shorter and adjust a little bit, but I haven't moved. But what I have changed is, let's say, for example, the stang length. The stang length, when I fit it, it used to be on a 49, right? So it's already shorter, the reach. And I was using 100 mils stem. And then I went into 110, and then went to 120. And then I switched the frame to 52, and I still went with 120. And I went from negative, 6 degrees to like negative 12. So in that sense, I think I got more and more aggressive, but it didn't affect my performance.
And you did it on your own, or your
I did
bike
it on my
fitter
own. I did it on my own, yeah.
Okay.
It was just like, I mean, I didn't want to pay every single time for like a 10 mil difference. I just put it on, see how it feels.
Trial and error.
Trial and error, yeah. If it feels good, okay lah.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, well, I'll sell the stamp. Someone will buy it lah.
That's
you
what
know?
I do as well.
Yeah.
But this is it's only feasible if cockpits remain as two-piece.
Yes.
Now most cockpits are one piece.
piece,
It's going to be
yeah.
a pain to be able to do that,
Yeah.
right?
So a lot of people ask me like, oh, what bike should I get as my first bike? I tell them like, just get any old bike lah, because you'll definitely buy the wrong size. You'll definitely not know what you're doing. Just buy whatever, play around, buy cheap, buy multiple times, okay, no problem. Once you figure it out, then you can spend the money. I think that makes more sense. But
Yeah.
I mean, money is yours. You do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
I say that to everyone, but it's always like, do as I say, not as I do. I always buy the expensive stuff and be like, wrong thing, damn it, you know. But you know, seriously, like that's the I guess amalgamation of all the mistakes that I've made.
Yeah.
You buy cheap at first, figure it out, and then you can spend the big monies on.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's how I started as well. I played around with different parts, different bikes. Sizing was a problem for me. Sometimes I buy a bike that's too big, too small.
Yeah.
But like you said, then you kind of get your way around it. and then you kind of know. Oh,
Yeah,
this is what I
you
want.
eventually know like
Yeah.
what works for you. Like, I feel like it's bike shops get a bad rap because you feel like, oh, they're just trying to push like a certain thing onto you, right? And I can't speak for all bike shops, but I feel like some bike shops are generally trying to recommend what they feel is best for you. And maybe you are borderline like a 52 or 49, who knows, right? And they say, okay, win-win situation. I have a 52, it could fit you in the long run, but maybe you're a beginner, you don't really know what you want, and you buy it and you think, oh no, the reach I cannot do like too aggressive because I'm too new to the sport. And then maybe your friends say like, oh, how come you use such a short stem and you have so much stack? And then you start to think like, oh, the bike shop like they played me. Well, no, maybe it's not the bike shop played you. It's just you're too new. You need time to understand what it is you need. So I feel like I need to say something for the bike shop too. It's not necessary all the time that they're trying to push you like the larger frame. It's just maybe you need to try.
And getting into an aero position, a slam stem, is it something that people can just try to conform to the bike? They just keep riding, or people can't do it? How do you get into that position?
So the aero position is like, it depends on how extreme you want to take it lah. So I've seen some teams in Hong Kong, they go super extreme, like I think like 32 cm bars, which is ridiculous when you look at it. It's super narrow, but I know why they do it, because they look at their shoulder width and it's quite narrow. And even if you use like a 38 cm bar, it's like they're driving a bus, it's very wide shoulders. So I get the logic behind it, but it just looks kind of weird. And looks for me is important too, right? So I cannot do that. But I'm lucky because I have wideish shoulders. So 40 cm works kind of okay for me lah. And aero position is not something you can just do. Yeah, you can hold for the Instagram shot, 20 seconds, 60 seconds, okay lah. But you in an actual race, you're not just gonna do 60 seconds. You have to hold it for like 20 minutes. Like the Bintan one, I'm pretty sure I was able to get on the podium because I practiced for a long time just holding a very aero position. Yeah, it's the same thing for like a TT bike and all that stuff too. You see people with like their very expensive TT gears, and I have nothing against that. Buy whatever is happy for you, but there's no point in saying like, oh, my bike is, I need to make this more aero, that more aero, when you're riding in the aero position with your elbows like this wide, you're catching all the air. Well, just, for free, you can make your arm pads narrower, make it lower, tuck your head in, and it's free speed, But the caveat is you have to practice. It's very, very tiring to hold an aero position and still put the watts that you normally do.
Yeah.
Whereas like clinchers is been around for everyone. Every single tire works on every single rim. You don't have to look at compatibility sheets, but tubeless you still do right now. And I feel like that's just so much hassle. It just shows that the whole industry is still trying to figure it out, and we haven't landed on that one like golden standard yet. So I feel like until that has happened, there's no like super big urge for me to swap over. It's like, I have an iPhone 13. Do I need to go to 14? Well, you can. Is it much better? Not really. It is better, but it's not like day and night kind of difference. So until I see that like we go from like a Nokia to iPhone kind of leap, I don't think I'm like pressed right now to make a switch.
Last but not least, the OSPW.
OSPW, do you need it? No. Honestly, so I have the Koga right now. Honestly, if it weren't because of my good friend from the bike shop, he wanted to promote it and gave me one. If it weren't for that, I would be very happy to just keep the stock version. My take on OSPW is maybe it can make you faster, but the risk of it making you slower is much greater.
Why? How?
So why? Because not all OSPW is made the same. There are some brands, only two that I know of that I've tried and I feel confident is CS and also Kogo. These two, the construction quality is good enough, rigid enough that when you shift, there's no like huge play. Because I've tried other brands and I mean, you just do this and it like wobbles around so much. There's no way that it doesn't affect the shifting. So there was one where I tried, I've never dropped chains. I put it on immediately, I dropped like 2 times. Yeah, so I felt like, okay, it definitely affects the shifting. And you can tell like the shifting isn't as crisp once you put it on.
Last wrap up about your bike performance. What do you not like about your bike, and will you make any other future upgrades?
I just don't like the price. So I don't know how like Singapore or the world works for bicycles, but I know the practices in Hong Kong sometimes are a little shady. I won't name like bikes, but let's say I know, for example, that you buy a certain brand bike and only a certain BB fits on it, and you have to buy from the same like brand. So they will deliberately, some stores take that part away, even though it comes with the bike, and they make you pay extra on top of whatever you already pay to pay for the BB, because you have to, right? So there's these kind of like practices in Hong Kong that I've heard of.
Wow.
So I don't know what happened for Specialized in Hong Kong, but let's say, for example, used to be when I bought the Venge and even the SL6, it came with the CSBB, and for Venge it came with the handlebar and the stem, right? When I got this bike, didn't come with BB, didn't come with the handlebar.
And this is from a Specialized?
This is from a Specialized store, yeah. So I don't know if they like took it all away and make you buy more, pay more, but the fact is I didn't get it and I had to find my own. So I didn't buy from them.
Did you ask them? Why didn't you?
Well, I asked them like, oh, it doesn't come with BB. They're like, no, not anymore. Oh, it doesn't come with handlebar, not anymore. Okay, like what else can you say? I can't.
Did it come with the seat post at least?
It came with the seat post, yeah. Thank goodness, man. They didn't charge for that. But maybe next time it'd be like no seat
Nothing,
post.
just the frame. Anything you want to tell people out there in Singapore or the world who is watching my videos? I think they're mostly from Singapore.
Well, first of all, you have to subscribe to this guy, right? But no, it's been really fun to ride in Singapore. Everyone has been super friendly. And very helpful as well. So thanks to everyone. I'm not gonna name every single person in here, but thanks to everyone who's helped me on this trip, whether you're in Singapore or in Hong Kong in terms of like sponsorships. But yeah, thanks so much. And again, spend all the money you want, make yourself happy. In the end, it's all the legs and all in here. So have fun cycling.
Again, you can tell my legs and his legs. Look at the one who is cycling and who is not cycling.
This is just for show.
Oh
but
my
yeah,
goodness.
like I just want to like say cycling is a sport, you know, and the equipment matters up to a certain level. But there are some people where it's probably not a thing in here. I don't know, but in the communities I ride in, it feels a little more snobbish. It's like, oh, you don't ride the latest thing. Oh, I'm gonna look down on you. And I feel like that shouldn't be the way it is, you know. We should spend the money we want to spend, but not have to look down and segregate by like spending power. At the end of the day, like I would go to Europe and the States, and people ride just like aluminum frames, but they smoke the shit out of you. And they asked me too, like, why you ride S-Works? You're so slow. And it's like, you know, I feel so ashamed riding S-Works in Europe and in the States. And that experience teaches me like, oh, it's really not the equipment, it's the legs, you know, legs do the talking.
You know, I just got this comment on my channel yesterday, and I think it's a European guy, a Westerner. He said that, I'm sorry to say this, but people in Southeast Asia, they are so materialistic. You guys buy S-Works, but it's all about the legs, right? You don't focus on buying the bike or upgrading your bike. Focus on your fitness, improving yourself. Which, you know what? Wow, I read it, I was like, shit. That looks like me. Is he talking about me?
No, I mean, I think it's just a clash of cultures, you know. Definitely the West or Europeans and the Americans, they're less materialistic in that sense. It's all the legs. And here, not even like Singapore, like Hong Kong for sure too. I think just Asia culture.